Hello, Impact Asylum. My name's Fireguy, and welcome back to another episode of Fireguy's Predictions. So I'm very happy. I'm glad that I found time to put this in my schedule, guys. It's my birthday weekend. I've been in and out of home, busy with friends and family, doing all that typical birthday stuff. So I've been busy with that. I'm surprised I found time to stick into my schedule. Hopefully I have time to put this up on the website a few hours at least before redemption, so you guys have time to watch it in time for the big show tonight. So I just said it, guys. This episode of Fire Guys Predictions is to give my predictions on the big redemption pay-per-view, guys. This is the first pay-per-view under the new regime and Impact, and I'm gonna say it right now. I am quite happy with the card that they put on tonight. I'm quite content with it. I hope it delivers. There's quite a few matches with only 3 hours, so hopefully they cut out the unnecessary crap, cut down the matches that don't need to be 30 minutes, and make the matches that are supposed to be 30 minutes, So hopefully they get that part done properly, but I believe in them. Redemption stays cool. I hope that Redemption has a bigger meaning later on, because I'll get to it in a minute, but the Redemption name up to now with the card that we have now has no significance whatsoever. But anyways, that aside, how does Fire Guys Predictions work for all the new people listening on Impact Asylum or on YouTube? Basically how I do it is I just run down the storyline that led up to the match, give my predictions on the match, and then give my predictions on where I think the feud will go from there. So let's start off right away, guys, with the first match here. This match was just announced today, and it's a knockouts match. It's Taya Valkyrie versus Kiera Hogan. So the way they're booking it is fire versus ice, which is very smart, but which also makes me not want to see the match as much anymore, because these two have never had any confrontations whatsoever on Impact. So there's no story leading into this, guys. This is probably just a quick match for Taya to keep the ball rolling in her court, but they're booking it as a fire versus ice match, which is a really cool match. That's what got the Jade versus Rosemary feud over, was the red versus blue thing. A nice little shtick like that works, and it sucks that haven't developed a program between the two to end up being a fire versus ice kind of book. It's not a gimmick match, but I mean, to get to this point, it sucks that there's no program, because a fire versus ice kind of theme to it sounds really cool. And Kiera Hogan definitely seems like someone that Impact wants to push, so they could have definitely put her in a program with Taya, who hasn't been used at all the last 2 weeks of Impact Wrestling television, if I'm not mistaken. So they could have definitely started up a little program there at least. But anyways, here, like I said, this is a quick match for Taya to get the ball rolling some more, keep her not up to date, but basically keep her ball going. I hope it's not a quick match. Kiera doesn't deserve to be squashed like that, but Taya needs to be kept strong. So obviously here Taya wins, but this definitely makes me think of what's going to be in store for them moving on, because with this fire versus ice little shtick attached to the match, this could definitely turn into a program, which I would like to see. Like, these two definitely in the ring together. It would be tons of fun. Okay, so let's see where it goes from here. I'm pretty sure this is more so just a match to decide who's next number one contender, I'm assuming. It's stupid that Rosemary isn't in this match, because she's the one that should be number one contender, because Taya, she lost to Rosemary 2-3 weeks ago, so oh well. Let's move on to the next match, guys, and it's from our partners at Lucha Underground. So who knows what that means, if it's a pre-taped match in the temple, or if they're actually going to be at the Impact Zone and they're just saying it's from our partners at Lucha Underground because they're not under any contract or paid per appearance deal with Impact Wrestling. But it's Aerostar versus Drago. So again, it's just an exhibition match, no story coming into this, on Impact side at least. I really hope that the commentary gets people invested the first few minutes of the match and give the backstory to these two people from the Lucha Underground perspective. Drago, the story that's happening in Lucha Underground right now, as of Season 3 ending, was that Drago is part of the Reptile Tribe, and he ditched Aerostar and Phoenix, which were his best friends and the trio champions with him, to join the tribe. And Aerostar and Phoenix have been trying to fight and to get him back ever since. If they just say that on commentary, it gives an extra, layer to the match that Aerostar's fighting his best friend, not really an enemy, in Lucha Underground world at least, and that he's just trying to get his friend back and trying to, get him back as trios champions in Lucha Underground. Having a match together obviously is a weird way of doing it, but that's how the wrestling world works. So where I see this going in the future, it's very hard it's very hard to say. I don't think these two are gonna be in Impact Wrestling. Like I said, the only reason why they have the "from the Lucha Underground" sentence there on the match graphic was probably because it's a pre-taped match from the Temple. So I don't think these two are gonna be in the Impact Zone for the tapings. So I don't think this is gonna go anywhere, and this was just an exhibition match to show the new partnership between Impact Wrestling and Lucha Underground. Let's move on to the third match, guys, and also another match that has very little story attached to it. It is a 6-way X Division match, guys, as Teiji Ishimori takes on Desmond Xavier, El Hijo del Fantasma, Brian Cage, DJZ, and Trevor Lee. That made it sound like it was a 1-on-5 handicap match. No, it's just a 6-way, guys. Sorry, didn't mean to say that. They're all versus each other. There you go. So, DJZ is making his big return to the company after a year being sidelined for a year due to injuries, just non-stop, almost dying because of his injuries. And the fact that he survived and is back in the wrestling world is insane. Desmond Xavier is finally back after being gone for one taping block. He was touring Japan with Dragon Gate, if I'm not mistaken. So, he's back. Phantasma, pissed off that Impact isn't using him properly, so he's in this match. And Ishimori, he left Noah between these two sets of tapings, but it seems like he's staying with Impact Wrestling for the time being. So good for him and good for us, because he's an awesome talent to see. And then Trevor Lee, who was in a bullying storyline that we're not going to mention, and now he's in this 6-way match. So Brian Cage is the big name in this match, guys. The super big buff guy that can do flippy flips like he's 90 pounds, but he's actually 200 pounds of pure muscle. He's been undefeated since debuting in Impact, defeating 2 or 3 jobbers, defeating Bobby Lashley not once but 2 times. This match here, guys, is just a quick fancy X Division style way to open the show off and get another win under Brian Cage's belt. There's no one else in this match that comes even close to winning this. I don't see them winning it. The only possibility, well, there's only 2 possibilities I can see winning. One is DJZ, big fancy return, he gets his big win, or Phantasma, because he's like outside of the K-Fob, whatever you want to pronounce it, wrestling world. He's been actually pissed at Impact Wrestling for not being put on their promotional work and stuff like that. So those are the only 2 possibilities I see winning, but that's very, very slim. Like, Brian Cage has this in the bag. This is just another way to keep his undefeated streak going and get a bit more and keep slowly building him up as the big monster that he is, by showing that he can defeat heavyweights and defeat the fast, high-flying X Division style wrestlers as well. So this is going to be a fun match to open up the show. I hope it opens up the show. Where it goes from here, nowhere. It's not going anywhere. Most of these guys, I hope they don't float. I hope that Desmond Xavier gets a title shot soon. He deserves it. He got scammed out of the Super X Cup, because I'm pretty sure he was supposed to have a title shot out of that anyways. But anyways, Desmond Xavier I hope he gets a title shot soon. DJZ, definitely hope he's in a program soon, or in a feud of some sorts in Impact. He's been big time missed from me, at least. But here, Brian Cage is getting a win under his belt, and hopefully he can move on to chasing after the world title. Now let's move on to the 3 mid-card championships that are on the line. So let's start off with the Impact World Tag Team Championships as LAX defend against Eli Drake, who's cashing in his Feast or Fire Tag Team briefcase alongside Big Booty Daddy, Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner. So basically, the story coming into this was Eli Drake and Chris Adonis were supposed to be in the Feast or Fire match. Chris Adonis was like, nope, too much of a pussy to compete in that kind of match where your career is on the line. So Eli Drake fired him, and now Eli Drake picked up the tag team briefcase. So now he's back at it. Well, he wasn't happy. He got the tag team briefcase, wasn't happy. Then he wanted to take on Moose for his heavyweight championship case. So on the main event of an Impact Wrestling television show, he took on Moose, case versus case match, won both cases after OVE ran in, and now he's cashing in. He never formally said he was cashing in the briefcase, I don't think, but he's cashing it in, and his partner is Scott Steiner. So this match, obviously, you guys know it. It's not going to be a 5-star match at all. It ain't going to be nothing close to that. It's just going to be a fun little match where we get to see Big Booty Daddy kick some butt in the ring, hit his signature spots, but Eli Drake's going to do most of the work. So I'm not expecting a 5-star match, and if you go in with that mindset, you will get what you're asking for. Like, you're not going to be not deceived, but you won't be upset with the quality of the match if you go in with the mindset that you're not expecting a 5-star match here. Also, this is obviously just a match to keep LAX's ball rolling. There's no one in the tag division, so they had to make up teams like this, so I don't put it past Impact. But it's going to be a fun match regardless. Eli Drake's definitely going to do most of the carrying, but in the end here, LAX retain. It'd be really stupid to put the belts on Scott and Eli Drake because, you know, Scott Steiner's very part-time. He's not really... He's way past his prime. Like, old age, he's not like he used to be before. Old age definitely caught up to him. He's fun in small doses like this, especially on the mic, but definitely here LAX retain. But where this goes from here, Impact need to figure stuff out pronto. I get that it's a new set of tapings. We don't know who's debuting, but there's been no rumbling, no rumors whatsoever about Impact signing tag teams. So they need to get tag teams signed to Impact pronto. The tag team division is dead. There's literally LAX, OVE, and Cult of Lee. LAX destroyed Cult of Lee, and LAX have already had a big program with OVE. So there's very little for them to do. Impact need to figure something out. I get why they didn't sign TDT back during the Canadian tapings, because they are from Canada, and it does cost lots of money to bring them in every time. But any team would work. Desmond Xavier, he has a tag team down in the Indies with Zachary Wentz. So I don't know why they haven't signed him, Wentz, yet to form that tag team. It baffles me, but hopefully Impact can sign some tag teams very shortly, or else LAX are going to be the tag champs of an empty division, which just means nothing at the end of the day. So let's keep the ball going here, guys, with the second championship match of the night, and it's the X Division Championship on the line as Matt Sydal, along with his spiritual advisor Josh Matthews, take on Petey Williams. So here, yet again, the story's there, but I've realized with the new Impact Wrestling era with Scott Damore and Don Callis is that they like to do the subtle stories that work, but don't overcrowd the wrestling, which is a good thing. Especially in the X Division, you don't have to have an insane story. Let the quality of the match do the work for you. I get when it comes to other matches, you have to have a bit more of a story, but it seems like they have it down pat here. But here the story, I'm not invested in at all. It still makes no sense to me. Basically, how it all took place was Matt Sydal took on Austin Aries in a title versus title match. And basically, near the end, when Seidel was about to win, or not about to win, but when Josh Matthews was about to interfere, obviously, Petey Williams came out for the save for some reason. It's just a dumb babyface move, I guess. He has no relation with Matt Seidel or Austin Aries or Josh Matthews whatsoever. And then ever since then, it cost Seidel the Grand Championship. And now ever since then, Seidel's been pissed at Petey Williams and wants to fight him. Petey Williams like, okay, I'll cash in my briefcase too. So now Petey Williams is going for the X Division Championship. So yet again here, this is a pretty predictable one here. Matt Seidel will definitely retain. He's the more interesting of the two. First off, he actually has a story going with the whole spiritual advisor thing and his new heel run. Meanwhile, Petey Williams is just the dumb babyface that keeps getting beaten down over and over again. And I do admit that he will win the X Division Championship at the Canadian tapings, but we still have this whole set of tapings to go through yet, so it'd be way too early to put the title on him. But he'll definitely get it really soon in the future, once those Windsor tapings come around. But for now, it's just not the time, and it's just a way to get the Feast or Fire briefcase out of the way, like they do with the X Division briefcase every year. So, where this goes from here, yet again, it's impossible to predict the X Division. Even with the new era, they still haven't done quite that good of a job of showcasing the X Division. So it's always up in the air what may happen next. I'm hoping for a DJZ and Matt Seidel program. That would definitely be fun, especially with the return of DJZ. So who knows what they have in store. Petey Williams is probably just going to sink back down the card and wait for the Canadian tapings before he becomes a big deal again. But for sure here, Matt Seidel retains, and that's that basically. Let's move on now to the Knockouts Championship. And this one, man oh man, Impact are stuck between a rock and a hard place here. Like, they put themselves in a booking corner, which is very hard to get out of. The story here is Ali, she was a young, weak girl, no confidence, being part of the Maria Callis gang. She finally broke out of her shell, slowly but surely. At Bound for Glory, she was in the triple threat, yeah, for the title. Sadly, that she didn't win. Gail Kim vacated it. There was a tournament. Laurel Van Ness won the title, and then in the end, Ali had a big program with her. She finally took the title away from her, and she became that strong, confident girl that she's ever wanted to be. But now she's facing her first demon, and I'm saying that literally, second demon. I mean, Laurel Van Ness is cuckoo too, but now she's facing Su Yung, who just debuted a few weeks ago, and since then has been booked as a very strong force in the Knockouts division. So that's where the caveat comes into play here, as Ali is that young, strong girl. She finally hit that stage in her character work, where she's finally that strong, confident woman that has a title, and she's finally done everything that she wanted to do, but it's too soon to take the title off of her, because she's going to lose all that steam that's going for her, and she's going to ruin her character as slowly building up that very confident girl, because she's still not quite there yet, but she's getting there. But meanwhile, on the other hand, she can't go over Su Yung, because Su Yung has been built up as a very strong, dominant force, and eating a pin to Ali this early on in her Impact career is definitely going to hurt her credibility later on when she goes in programs against Rosemary, Taya, etc. So they're stuck in a very hard place right now. They do at least have Braxton Sutter on the sidelines that could goof around and cause goofy ending. This is one of the matches where I don't mind a stupid, wacky, overbooked ending, because this is where they need it. They're stuck in a booking corner. They're stuck in between a rock and a hard place. They need to get out of it. Braxton Sutter is probably the key here to at least keep Su Yung and Ali a bit protected in the storyline. So definitely here I see either or winning by DQ. It just flip of a coin at this point, but it's going to be by DQ or ring out at least. I really hope they don't go with someone going over the other in a credible fashion. Where this goes from here, maybe they have a rematch later down the line. They keep the program and the feud going for a few more weeks. With this out of tapings, it's huge, so I'm expecting 1 or 2 themed episodes of Impact, so TV pay-per-views, where they might have a rematch then if they extend the feud that far. But if they don't, I'm glad with a rematch on Impact in a week or 2 from now, and then Ali can break off, maybe feud with Sienna or Taya, because if Taya defeats Kara Hogan tonight, she might be next in line for the title shot. Although Rosemary, I mean, she won against Taya, but anyways, that's besides the point. And Su Yung can maybe have a program with Rosemary. And that's something that all the Impact fans, especially you guys at Impact Asylum, and me really want. Su Yung, the Undead Bride, versus Rosemary and the Hive. That'd be tons of fun to see, and especially if they throw a few gimmick matches in there, it'd be awesome. Just from the pure character work, the storyline work, and the match itself, it'd just be an overall fantastic time. So, definitely here, the recap, I see something happening here, DQ. Not a solid win here. Not a credible win, at least for Ali or Su Yung. Now let's move on to what I hope is the co-main event here, because it's also in the main event scene, so I don't see why not. And it's also been one of the more solidly built storylines heading into this pay-per-view. And it's a House of Hardcore 6-man tag match here, as Tommy Dreamer, Moose, and Eddie Edwards take on OVE. So, how this match all came to light, OVs, after their feud with LAX, said that they're gonna they're gonna fry some big fish instead of keep going after LAX. They jumped Lashley. Eddie Edwards came out to save Lashley one of those times, if I remember correctly, because of their history together. Eddie Edwards got beat down. Eddie Edwards wanted a match against Sami Callihan. Sami Callihan smashed Eddie Edwards' face in with a baseball bat. Actual legit injury, not in the storyline, not kayfabe or anything. And after that, Eddie Edwards was on a path of revenge. He went all the way to Ohio to face OVE in their territory. He got beat down. OVE then stalked his wife Alicia when she was coming into the hotel. Eddie Edwards tried to save her. He did manage to save her, but then he got beat down again. And then OVE said that if he wants to keep messing around, they're gonna keep going after his friends and family. And on the next week on Impact, they took out Moose, which is Eddie Edwards' best friend in Impact Wrestling. Eddie Edwards then got really mad. Moose had a match against OVE, ended up in a DQ. Eddie Edwards came in for the save. Eddie Edwards and Moose got beat down because it was still a 3-on-2 situation. Alicia came in out of nowhere for some reason, almost got her ass beat. But then out of nowhere, Tommy Dreamer made his big return to Impact Wrestling. So, lots of mixed emotions here, you know. People make the joke saying that seeing Tommy Dreamer on a pay-per-view in 2018 is, you know, not supposed to happen. I agree to a certain extent, but with the match being some kind of hardcore match, lately Impact just like to throw cool names on their hardcore matches. So I don't expect anything different here. Well, I want it to be different. Like, I'm hoping with the House of Hardcore match, they go super overboard with the weapons. Like, they have ladders, chairs, tables, thumbtacks, barbed wire boards, like the whole kit. Like, instead of just having a normal hardcore match where they throw a bin, a trash can on ringside, and there's kendo sticks and a frying pan in there, you know? Like, that's what they usually do in Impact. But I hope with this title that they've attributed to this match that they actually go a bit overboard with the presentation of the match. But if I can base this off of what happened between Rosemary versus Ty and the Demon's Dance, I don't expect anything different. So at least here, what my point was that at least here with the gimmick, it kind of hides Tommy Dreamer's age gap here a bit, and I'm still expecting a very solid match, and I actually hope that this match goes a good 15-20 minutes, because this is what the match deserves. Where this goes from... Oh, I have to get my predictions first. Sorry about that, guys. My predictions here is OVE. Like I'll get to literally right now. This is not the end of the feud. The feud from the get-go was Sami Callihan versus Eddie Edwards. And this feud will definitely continue. At least in the next themed episode of Impact or TV pay-per-view. Or even till Slammiversary, which is in a few months from now. So, OVE are going to win here just because they're a unit. Meanwhile, Tommy Dreamer, Moose, Eddie Edwards are just going to, you know, not bump heads, but they're just not used to working together. This being a hardcore match, I hope it's Tornado. It'd be stupid if they had to tag in and out on a hardcore match. So, I hope that they go Tornado rules here. But yeah, OVE win. Where this goes from here, Tommy Dreamer and Moose are just going to disappear back to where they came from. And it's just going to go back to being an Eddie Edwards versus Sami Callihan story. Or feud. Which I think is better, personally. Meanwhile, the Christ brothers can do whatever they want. I mean, they're just going to follow Sami Callihan around. But they're not going to be the main focus of the Eddie Edwards versus Sami Callihan feud. So, that's my guess here, guys. OVE retain. And it's going to be a fun match, I hope. Well, I know it's going to be, but I hope it's a fun match. Now, time for the big main event, guys. Man, there's tons of controversy around this entire match. It's a rematch of the Impact Wrestling versus Lucha Underground Twitch special that happened on April 6th. It's Austin Aries defending his Impact World Championship against Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix in a triple threat, or three-way, because, you know, triple threat is WWE name. But anyways, how this all came to light, wow. Basically, heading into this, we saw an Impact a few weeks ago. For the small minority of you guys that don't know what happened, we saw the Alberto El Patron versus Austin Aries feud starting. It was getting built up. They had tons of video packages. They had the press release, but the sit-down interview press release thingy at the WrestleCon, and then out of nowhere, Alberto El Patron no-shows the Impact Wrestling versus Lucha Underground show or main event that he was supposed to be in. Now that sent Impact Wrestling scrambling, guys, and I'm not talking about kayfabe yet again or in the wrestling world. I'm talking about in real life here. They went scrambling, but since it's not the old Impact Wrestling, they actually made a decision right away. They fired Patron on the spot. Austin Aries cut a promo at the House of Hardcore show that happened the day after, and said that the new main event at Redemption will be a rematch, except this time it's going to be for the World Championship, because the night before, Pentagon Jr. did defeat Phoenix in that triple threat that wasn't for the title. So this, I would want to say that this match, from a match quality standpoint, is going to be miles above Alberto El Patron versus Austin Aries. But it doesn't beat it in the story department. Like, Austin Aries versus Patron was a very interesting story. I was really digging it with all the video packages. It was really, really, really good. So hopefully they deliver in the match to make up for the lack of story heading into this pay-per-view. But definitely from a match standpoint, I love this a lot more. Who wins here? This is a tough bet here, guys. It's really hard to guess who wins. Phoenix obviously is out. I don't think he's going to even come close to winning this. It's definitely between Austin Aries and Pentagon Jr. Seems like Impact Wrestling have signed Pentagon Jr. or have gotten him on a very lucrative paper appearance contract, because they're making him a big deal. The next One Night Only that's happening next month, I think it's next month, is based completely around Zero Fear, or Zero Miedo, which is the big catchphrase for Pentagon Jr. He's smack dab on the poster. He's smack dab on every poster that Impact makes now. So, they might put the title on him because it seems like they're making him a big deal. But that's kind of what they made it. They kind of did the same thing when Johnny Impact came to Impact Wrestling, but he didn't win the title and hasn't won it yet. So Austin Aries might retain it here, and a part of me wants Austin Aries to retain because he has more of a character in the Impact Wrestling world. So Impact can assume that everyone knows who Pentagon and Phoenix are, minus the hardcores like me and a lot of you guys at the Impact Asylum. So I hope they keep the title on Austin Aries. It also makes sense because Brian Cage is building his way up to the main event here soon. And I don't know. I get that Pentagon Jr. in a cage match would be awesome, but I don't know. I see Brian Cage defeating Austin Aries and then proceeding to a feud between himself and Pentagon Jr. I don't know. Seeing it happen the other way. I don't know. I feel like Austin Aries would be a more credible champ to defeat in Impact than Pentagon Jr. So definitely here, my bet is Austin Aries. That's my pick. But at the end of the day, I'm not surprised if Pentagon Jr. wins this. So that's the end of my rundown of the card, guys. Just went a bit over 30 minutes here. Hope you guys have been listening thus far. Hopefully you didn't get lost in all that babble. I know I tend to stutter quite a bit and talk quite a bit too. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. This pay-per-view is the first pay-per-view under the new Impact Wrestling regime that changed yet again. It's the first tent pole or whatever expression they used pay-per-view, which means it's going to come back every year. Hopefully this doesn't mean the end of Lockdown. Lockdown definitely deserves to stay. They said that they're aiming for 4 pay-per-views this year. So with Redemption, Bound for Glory, and Slammiversary, there's still that one left. So hopefully they do go with Lockdown, because that's definitely a pay-per-view I feel like doesn't need to go. I know they're trying to get rid of the TNA stain, but Lockdown, I mean, they need to keep it. So this overall, I'm excited for this pay-per-view, guys. Like I said at the start, very solid card. I know that when it comes to these TV pay-per-views and the pay-per-views, they always deliver. Like if you guys look at Crossroads, from a pure wrestling standpoint, that was probably the best episode of Impact Wrestling, and that was a TV pay-per-view. So imagine what the roster might be thinking now with a pay-per-view, that they might actually go all out now with this new regime. So I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are too. For all those interested, my hot fire for Redemption will not be coming out till maybe Wednesday. I'm aiming for Wednesday here, guys. My normal Impact Wrestling hot fire for the go home show for Redemption will be coming out on Monday like usual. But stay tuned for those, guys. Make sure to tune in to Redemption tonight, guys, if you guys have the chance. I definitely will be. I usually watch the shows afterwards, but this pay-per-view got me pumped, so I'm actually going to sit down and watch it live as it happens. So my name's Fireguy. Thank you for tuning in, guys, and listening thus far. I will see you guys a little bit later.